Welcome back to Inside the 18, live from the Mobile Mini Cup in Tucson, Arizona, and it is snowing outside, which is not what any of these guys wanted in any way whatsoever. They get enough of that over in Utah. We're fortunate enough to have from Real Salt Lake, that's right, the Real Salt Lake, we've got Andrew Putna, goalkeeper, Todd Hoffard, goalkeeper coach, and some guy wearing a Dodgers hat. I'm sure no one's familiar with this guy, Nick Rimando, goalkeeping legend. Guys, thanks first off for being on Inside the 18 on a Friday night. I'm sure this is exactly what you guys want to do on your Friday evening, is come and talk goalkeeping in front of some Western motifs. So, oh yeah, and Omar's here too, I guess. So, yeah. But anyway, basically what we're going to do, guys, we're going to do a little thing. It's a little bit different now than usual when Omar and I are just kind of banting about. But basically, we're going to be talking about the relationship between the goalkeeper coach and the goalkeepers, which is why we have two goalkeepers here and a goalkeeper coach. So first off, guys, why don't you tell us a little bit about just what it's like at Real Salt Lake between the whole goalkeeping family? Whomever wants to start.
Probably start with the guy that's been here that long.
Yeah.
No, it's great. We got a good relationship. I think the first thing that comes to mind is trust. When you talk about the relationship between a goalkeeper and their goalkeeper coach, respect is another thing that comes to mind. And like you said, we're like our own little family. We go off by ourselves. We don't go around take laps with the guys. We kind of are in our own little like zone, and it makes us tighter, and it makes us unique, I guess, in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can piggyback on that, I guess. I was just talking to our photographer the other day, and he said that, we always look like we're having a good time, and we always look like we're not doing what we should be doing. But, yeah, I mean, that's part of the union, I think. And, I mean, at Real Salt Lake, it's definitely tight, and I'm in the position where I'm definitely just learning from these two guys and trying to pick up new things every day. And that's the position I'm in. It's definitely different than what Nick's in, but no, it's good. Todd?
Yeah, I think for me, I agree wholeheartedly with what Nick said, and then the other piece to that is communication. And I think there's got to be a communication line, between myself and Nick, and from him to me as well, and as well with Andrew and David Ochoa or any other goalkeepers. And having that open line of communication on a daily basis of, how you feeling, and I think that's an important question to ask every day, because I never want to be that goalkeeper coach that's a dictator and say, hey, we're going to do this, 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 and this. Well, yeah, we might want to get through this, but I'm going to give them some leeway here and there.
Todd, I'm always feeling good. Every day feels good.
Yeah, I think communication is huge. I think it kind of gets lost when you're a younger goalkeeper. Kind of shut your mouth and do whatever you're told, and I think as you get older in your career, I think the communication is huge to, like Todd said, knowing how your body's feeling, how you are mentally, just where your head's at before a game or training. So I think communication, if it could be picked up early as a young goalkeeper, and you could be confident with communicating with your goalkeeper coach or the head coach, I think that's crucial.
So Todd, quick question for you. When you have an experienced goalkeeper, a veteran like Nick here, when you have younger goalkeepers in the group, do you guys have a communication like, hey, I'm gonna let you today kind of be hard on Andrew, you be hard on David? Do you guys have that kind of relationship in terms of just open communication and, him being a veteran at the same time, you don't want to step on each other's toes, but in that sense?
Yeah, and we've had that conversation, where I don't always want to be the person say, oh, Andrew, you got to do this better. I say, hey, Nick, once in a while, say something. And he does. And I don't even have to tell him half the time, and that's being a veteran leader, and talking to Andrew or talking to Alex or especially a David Ochoa who's, 17, 18 years old. They don't always want to hear from the coach. I think it's even more powerful sometimes if it does come from Nick. Somebody that's been in the league and has been there, done that for such a long period of time.
You legitimately have like a goalkeeping family. You have like the kid who's who's gone off to college, and he's doing his thing, and you're there, for some guidance every once in a while. You got the kid in high school, who's getting ready to go to college, and then you got the middle school kid, who's just trying to figure it out and everything like that. It's like literally like you're a father of goalkeeping.
Well, I'd probably be the grandfather, I think. Nick would be the father.
Nick's my father.
And I think what he's saying about the young players and that communication is when I could speak up and talk to the goalkeepers. I think you find your relationships within that. Like if I could talk to somebody and Andrew, it's very easy to talk to him, or you know where his head's at sometimes if he's too far into his head or upset about something. He still listens. He's still open-minded. It's the generation or the younger players or the goalkeepers that don't want to hear anything, and everything they do is the best. And I think that's when relationships and the whole camaraderie against goalkeepers kind of goes its separate ways.
For sure. And for Nick, for you, I mean, we always see in the NFL, you have understudies come in for the older quarterbacks, and you sometimes see the older quarterbacks not show as much love to the younger guys. So for you, how important is that for you? Do you take it upon yourself to go out there and say, hey, like today I'm going to put Nick under my wing, and I'm not going to try to hide any of my secrets and really try to further his career?
No, for me, it's I like to just kind of show it more so than kind of take somebody underneath my wing. I think if it's there, I will step in and chat, and I think me and Andrew have a great relationship, Alex as well. It's just something that it just comes natural, I think just being out there so many games, playing so many years, I think I have the respect from them, and when I need to, I could step in, and when I don't, I kind of give them their space. Everybody wants to, have their own personality too as a goalkeeper. You don't want to, stop Andrew from being the goalkeeper he needs to be. And listen, if I make saves one way, it's maybe not the way to make saves that he likes to make saves, and as long as the ball's not going in the net, you're doing your job. So
I like what you just said there, Nick, in regards to, hey, the way I do it might not be the way that he does it. And by the way, I love that Andrew just right here is just whole time. He's like, we're just talking about me for 5 minutes. I'm not going to say anything. I'll just let it go through. But Todd and I, we were talking earlier about in regards to training different types of goalkeepers. You have to take their physical attributes into play. Where are their strengths? Where are their weaknesses? And not try to train everybody cookie cutter. And I think a lot of goalkeeper coaches out there need to hear that, because right here is a prime example of two different types of goalkeepers: a veteran who's been playing for a long time, a younger goalkeeper, and they both have different physical attributes. And, if you try to train all your kids the exact same way, it's not going to work, right?
I agree with 100%. I mean, if you look, his strengths. I mean, it's if he would stand up, you obviously see his
By the way,
strength.
you're like an
He's
Adonis,
6'5".
dude. I hate you. You're like so good looking, just standing there and like just like a model.
Don't bat his back. But they're different types. The different types of goalkeepers. But you look at one type. I don't know if that type's better than this type or vice versa. You look at Nick. Nick's not the 6'5", 6'6" goalkeeper that everybody, really looks for all these times. But I tell you, look at him. He's played in the World Cup. He's probably one of the best goalkeepers, if not the best goalkeeper ever playing in this league. He's got every MLS record. Well, I tell you what, I would go to bat for somebody like that than have somebody just because they have physical attributes. I think what he's done with his career is phenomenal. And I think people need to look. There's different ways to train goalkeepers. There's different strengths for every different goalkeeper, and it's a matter of finding, okay, what's his strengths? I'd be a fool to say, hey, you know what, Nick, we're going to change your style. We're going to change your style.
How many times does that happen, though? How many times do you get that, though? Even at a higher levels, I've heard of people trying to change somebody's footwork or even though it's working,
In my opinion, you can do that in younger ages. And try to find and try to piece things together that's going to fit their attributes. But for somebody like Nick, who's been a dominant goalkeeper in the league for so long, I think I'd be a fool to come in and say, hey, Nick, we're going to do it this way now. That would be foolish, I think, on my part. And I think as a goalkeeper coach, you've got to look at the scenarios you have, the types of goalkeepers you're working with, and kind of go from there. Because the way that I would maybe train Andrew is going to be a little bit different than Nick, and vice versa.
And I think it goes too, like Andrew wants to be trained a little bit, different than what I need at this stage of my career. Maybe he's going to take 4, 5, 10 more reps than I am. He wants to hit the ground a little bit more than I do. For me, it's more about being out there, being confident, and being ready for Saturday.
Andrew, for you, since you haven't been talking very much, I want to get you in this. How important is it for you at a young stage in your career to have a veteran and to have a great coach like Todd here to kind of get you to where you need to be?
Yeah, I mean, that just goes back to the communication, I think, that we were talking about before. I think definitely Nick and I are different styles of goalkeepers, just because our physique is different and stuff like that. And I mean, I talk to Todd about that all the time. Like, that's why I maybe take extra finishing at the end or something like that, just to see more reps, like Nick was saying. And I mean, Todd's been great though. What do you say?
You got money for me or what?
No, I'm going to boast a little bit about Nick right here, even though people all the time have always been boasting about Nick. I have probably recorded videotapes of you playing back at UCLA, and I used to watch those, and I'd be like, I could be just like that guy, and then my dad looks at me, he's like, oh, no, you cannot. Have you seen that guy play on the field? You could not be like that guy. But honestly, your distribution is something that's absolutely phenomenal, and something that people have always been talking about is some of the best that they've ever seen out there. Do you feel that this is something that you can showcase to younger goalkeepers who may not be as skilled in that game, part of the game? And I know now in the modern game, being able to play with your feet is so important.
Yeah, no, I feel like they always get the good distributions on TV that you guys see. I definitely have some mistakes with my feet, but it's about learning and knowing your limits. And for me, I mean, I'm 39 years old and I'm still trying stuff. I'm still trying to, start the counterattack. Never, it's not always perfect, but for me, for kids, it's trying it. It's getting into a game situation and, trying to distribute, trying to get the ball at your feet, trying to play out of the back. Especially right now, we're in preseason. Yes, the results always matter, but at the same time, it's you want to know how comfortable you are out there, not just by yourself, but with your defenders, your back, your back four, your sixes. So yeah, I mean, for me, I played on the field all through high school, and I knew growing up that my feet were going to be important. Like you said, I'm not the tallest goalkeeper, so I had to kind of spark the eye of coaches and players by something else. And for me, it was getting the edge with playing out of the back and distribution and reading the game.
We just want to formally apologize for all the LA fans last year for everything that happened when you guys upset LA. So I'm a Galaxy fan myself, so I'm happy you guys did that.
Upset? Why was that upset?
We didn't think it was an upset at all. We were expecting to win.
Okay, so here's the best part is that, like, Nick is, Cal South, born and bred, Inland Empire, right? So Inland Empire. He's got his Dodgers hat right here. I'm a Boston Red Sox fan, so we're not even going to discuss that right there. But that was like one of the craziest, surreal moments to me. I'm like, this is one of the iconic players come out of Cal South youth soccer, and people are doing this. And your tweet back, just next level. Just unbelievable. And we talked about it actually even on the podcast. So I think you dealing with situations like that in such class showcases to younger goalkeepers like Andrew or David or Alex or anybody like that, is that, that's how you handle it with maturity and discipline and showcase, we're going to let our game on the field, represent us.
No, you're right. You can't let, the fans or anyone kind of disrupt your play. It is hard. You have to put your foot in your mouth sometimes with what you want to say or what you can say. Social media is pretty wild right now. But it is something that I had to learn, and you just kind of keep your mouth shut and swallow your pride sometimes and, let your playing and let the results kind of speak for themselves.
Todd, this question is for you. We're talking about the goalkeeper union. We're talking about different types of goalkeepers when you're in a training environment. A lot of young goalkeeper coaches don't understand training goalkeepers differently, not just from a physical standpoint, from a mental standpoint. Can you elaborate a little bit more about just the rights that Andrew's a different person, that Nick's a different person, so what's going to make them tick is going to be different?
Yeah, and I think a lot of that's just comes with a little bit of experience of being able to understand a goalkeeper and what their physical attributes are. Like you said earlier, we're not trying to create cookie-cutter goalkeepers. For example, my hands might be a different size than the next one's. Well, yeah, we might want to catch it a certain way. Well, that next younger goalkeeper's hands might be a little bit smaller, might be a little bit larger. They've got to alter that technique a little bit. And I think that's the same whether it's diving technique, it's dealing with a cross, whatever. And you've got to be able to kind of figure out, okay, this is kind of the way that you want it to be, but based on their physical attributes, it might alter a little bit based on that. So it's a matter of kind of that experience factor to be able to pick and choose okay, this goalkeeper A might not be able to maneuver the way we want him to, so we're going to alter that technique a little bit to fit them.
And just coaches out there realize that it's not about you, it's about them. And that's one of the great things about you, Todd, is that you really care about the goalkeepers, whether you're working with youth players or working with professionals. You're all about, we were even talking about earlier, like, hey, I know where Nick is at his stage in his career, and I'm going to cater towards that. I'm not going to try to force him to do things that might not necessarily be what he needs right now.
Yeah, and we've had that conversation between Nick and myself, and I've had that conversation with Alex and Andrew, and not as much with Ochoa, but we might put together an exercise, and I'm like, hey, would you prefer a volley? Would you prefer a half volley? If I was working with, say, David Ochoa or Andrew, maybe, I might not have as much leeway. But at the end of the day, my job is to make sure that Nick is performing at a very, very high level so the team can succeed. If when Andrew gets to that point, he gets that same leeway, but he's earned the leeway.
Yeah.
So I try to give him that, and we have a pretty good relationship where I'll ask him questions. I show them the session plans. They get their session plans every morning in their locker room, and then we'll typically have a conversation. What do you think? Would you want to kind of change this? How do you feel today? Are you up for it? You want to do a little bit more or whatever? And they're great at getting back to me and kind of changing something on the fly if we need to.
Yeah, that and just to touch on that it goes a long way when Todd does come up to us and ask us how we are, and there's nothing probably worse that you want to do is be out there on the field with a grumpy old goalkeeper not wanting to hit the ground, and to have that communication and to I think that over the last couple of years, it's I had to hold back a little bit, on the field, which I don't want to do, but for my body, it's probably the most important thing to do. So
you definitely hold back in PKs, that's for sure.
Yeah. So
Never
the
seen anything
communication
like
and to know that Todd is always thinking about us and know has information on how we're feeling and stuff. It goes a long way for sure.
Yeah. Now, when the youth kids come, when the academy kids come and start training with you guys, like, does that change the dynamic at all? Do you feel like, oh, great, the freshman team's here now, or like you as goalkeepers, do you kind of go like, you know what, we're gonna show these guys what it's like to be a professional?
For me, I know that's less reps, so I'm excited to come inside.
I know I'm not I'm not on the low end of the totem pole anymore when Ochoa comes, so it's not too bad.
Andrew's like, hey, let me show you how a veteran does it.
That's right.
No, I mean, I honestly am so just honestly just flabbergasted sometimes when I see younger goalkeepers and they come into a session and they don't try to learn from the older goalkeepers. And I've seen it before, even at the collegiate level. And, I think you guys were a great example of showing, like you were talking about David Ochoa, coming into the program and stuff like that. And just, hey, you know what, even if it's not through like me bringing you under my wing and saying, hey, this is what you got to do, but just learning from example, just watching them, and just any kids out there who are in that situation, watch the older guys because they've been through the experiences. Omar was talking about this last night. We were running a clinic, and I'm actually going to say something positive about myself rather than self-deprecating. Is he came up to me afterwards, he's like, I haven't seen you coach since I was about 12 years old. I trained Omar when he was about 12, and he's like, I learned so much from watching you there, and I'm like, it's just experience, it's just reps, just like playing. And Todd, do you feel the same way?
Yeah, and that's where I think we really have a luxury, where we have this brand new facility at RSL that encompasses everybody. You've got the first team, you got the Monarchs, and you got our academy all under one roof. So the academy kids, they'll typically train at 7, 8 in the morning, and they can stick around and they can watch us train. There was many times last year where I actually would go and train with them in the morning, go train these guys, and then I would recommend to them and say, hey, look, I want you guys all to come out on Saturday night when we play, and I want you there at an hour before kickoff. And we're always at the end line, and they'll stand right in the front row or sit right in the front row right behind Nick to watch. I said, wow. I want you to see firsthand, up close, what his mentality looks like. How focused is he? Because, again, like you said, that goes a long way. When they're seeing somebody that's established as Nicky is in the league and had so much success and played in the World Cup, that's where they're all looking to be. That's where they all want to be someday. And to have somebody like that literally under the same roof, I mean, that's you can't buy that.
Yeah. No, that's phenomenal. I was going to say that one of the things about you guys all is it seems like you guys are all seem very close knit. Do you feel that is common in the goalkeeping community at the professional level, or do you feel that sometimes people kind of go off on their own and do their own thing?
I just feel like it depends. I mean, when I was in college, I went and trained with other professional teams, and I don't know. I feel like it just depends on who the veteran goalkeeper is. I mean, Nick keeps the attitude and mood very light, but some other goalkeepers can just be super grumps. But I mean, I think for us it's been good, but I think at other clubs it might be a little different. I think it just depends on the personnel for sure. So
you say Nick keeps it light. So are there any funny stories, anything that happened last season that you guys want to share with the audience?
I don't know if there's any funny stories, but the old guys always beat the young guys in basketball.
No, you're only as good as your last game. We beat them yesterday.
Does Todd ever hop in the cage?
No. Only in
does it happen?
ball.
Yeah, we play a little
I saw
smash
that
ball.
picture. That was a legit picture. You're just like,
Yeah, we won
like
that game. We won that
Oh.
game. Me and Ochoa won that game.
Oh, man. All right. Nick, what's your favorite form of distribution?
Yeah, just with my feet. I mean, off the ground. I know when we play small-sided, I don't like the balls thrown to my hands. I like it to my foot, to the grass, so I could just play real quick. Or, for me, it's the feet for sure.
Oh, God, I love your side volley. I thought you were going to say your side volley.
Nick, one last question for you. Who is the goalkeeper that you've probably learned the most from throughout your career? I know you've spent time with the national team. Obviously, you've been the first choice goalkeeper RSL for a little bit. But is there a specific goalkeeper that you've seen and you know what, this is what I've learned so much from this guy? Or anything like that?
Offhand, it's there's a lot of good goalkeepers that I looked up to. But offhand, Timmy Howard for sure. Just growing up with him on the youth national sides, seeing what he did over in England, and then coming back, and then having the opportunity to go play with him and sit behind him at the World Cup, and just seeing how he trains every day, his mentality. You learn a lot from people that you're close with and your friends that you can just open up with and have an honest relationship with. And for me, it'd be Timmy for sure.
Nice. I know you guys got to get out of here soon, but any advice for the young goalkeepers out there? I know you guys have, coaching now,
Andrew's got a lot of advice, I can tell. I don't even have a microphone. I'm still talking.
Any advice for you for the young kids out there to kind of get to where you guys are, and anything you've learned throughout your guys' careers that could definitely you wish you knew when you were younger?
I think for me, it's easy. Just don't let anybody say you can't do something. I mean, all my whole career, everybody was telling me I was too short, I wasn't going to make it, and that drove me. That drove me to be, to make it, just one professional year, and then that 1 year ended up being 2, and then that 2 ended up being 20. So. It was just that fire that people told me, I couldn't do anything, and it made me want to do it even more. So for me, it's just to the kids that don't give up, don't listen to people that are naysayers, and if you have a dream, go for it.
And it drove me every single time I was being a fourth string on a PDL bench and not getting any playing time whatsoever. I just said, but look at Nick Rimando. Look at Nick Rimando. And people just go, they're like, yeah, dude, you're not Nick Rimando. They're like, maybe do just comedy. I'm like, what about, they're like, just get a microphone. Do something else. Honestly, guys, thanks for taking the time. Yeah, Andrew, I'm so sorry. Now I'm a jerk. And Todd.
Yeah, go ahead, Todd.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, for me, I would say do the simple things and do them really, really well. For me, I'm a very simplistic guy. I'm not one for, all kinds of, tricks of goalkeeping and all these great grander, exercises and stuff like that. I think if you work on the fine tuning in and around your body and you're catching a lot of balls, for me, it's that. Can you catch the ball? Can you move your feet? That's the simple things, and do them really, really well.
Yeah, I would just say outwork everyone else. I feel like that's kind of the path I've been on since I've been a pro. When I started, I was second with the Monarchs, and then I worked my way up to the first team contract. So just keep working hard, and good things will come.
Well, awesome, guys. Well, thanks for taking the time. Before we go, if anybody out there, I know you guys are really accessible. Nick, for somebody of your stature, you're really, really good about getting back to people on Instagram, on DMs and stuff like that. So, that's really cool of you. So, where's the best place for people to reach out to you if there's any young kids out there who are looking for advice, or goalkeeper coaches out there who are looking for advice from you, Todd?
I got both their phone numbers. So
Oh, there we go.
DM me.
I'm probably the worst social media guy out there. I guess it shows my age. So I'm still trying to learn. I have to ask my kids how to work it, so I don't even know.
But check out the one-on-one soccer schools, guys. You can check out those. Yeah.
Yeah, mine's just my name, I think.
Yeah, you got that blue check mark though. There you go. Yeah. Is yours the same? Handle?
Yeah, I think I kind of got away from Twitter, but
Okay.
find me on Instagram.
All right.
So.
Cool. Honestly, guys, well, that's all the time we got on Inside the 18. We'll let these guys get to their team dinner, and we're out.